Today we have three very special multi-tools to talk about. One I've waited over 2 years for, and I also want to answer the question, are tools becoming too elite for the common person? Let's get started. Now the first multi-tool to talk about is a Windeler PL-01. I ordered this 2 years ago and I have never gotten it. I paid around $60 to $70, I think, for this folding set of pliers. I was very excited for it at the time because I do like Windeler's products with this magnet, and then there is these like little tracks that it can pivot and rotate on. I think it's a very clever system. So far, I had the large flat screwdriver, the wrenches, the smaller flat screwdriver, Phillips, and also the knife. That is what I was previously able to buy, a set of these. And yeah, it seemed like a little bulky set, but so I was fascinated with how well it worked. So for instance, let's say you wanted to just snap up something like this, take it on a bike ride or overseas. You want to be able to use a knife around home, but then just take this in your pocket. I can see where it would be useful. Yes, it's becoming a little bulky, but I can see the usefulness of it. And it seems like the items are made fairly well. I was very fascinated. Well, these pliers never came. I saw a set on eBay for around $60. I snapped it up. Yes, I've never got mine. Will I? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a good idea to pre-order off of Windeler. I've learned my lesson, hopefully. They do have some scissors, I think maybe a bit driver or so, or a ratchet, but I probably will never pre-order from them again, but I will keep my eye out for some of their new tools when they actually hit a store or eBay. Now, this is the pliers. These are very compact, a fascinating set of pliers right here. Very compact pliers. There we go. We've got these fully closed. They open pretty fidget friendly. I've really liked using these. Fairly sturdy handles. Doesn't look like too much can go wrong. And then there is these stops where when you open these up, actually right here that the plier rotates to, and then it is held in place. Wire cutters, yeah, it reminds me of sort of like a PST, a Leatherman PST, a little bit thinner, but pretty neat. I would say it's about the same size as a SOG Power Pint set of pliers. All right, so I had to go ahead and grab my SOG Power Pint. It is actually larger than the SOG Power Pint, surprisingly. So I had to grab my Leatherman PST, put that up against it. It's about the same length, but about half the width or the thickness of the PST plier head. Really, I think it's a fantastic, really great design. But unfortunately, Windeler is not that great on delivering orders to their customers. I think that will be their downfall. But I hope they can get better at this 2 years later. I don't have a huge amount of faith in them, but I hope things will change. Otherwise, their packaging is pretty nice. They usually come in this package like so. Otherwise, they do a great job, just not in delivering product, which is a pretty big issue for people. So we will keep an eye on the company and see the direction they head in the future. Now, this next tool I got when it was, I think, marked down to around $20 to $25. It has a very different company name. Not sure that I would have picked that name for my company, but the tool really struck my fancy because there are so many pry tools, but this one right here is very different. This is not just a pry mini crowbar thing that you can hold in your pocket. Obviously, it does have some functions of a pry tool, some ruler markings on the back. It does have this bottle opener, but you can use it like this, and then they say that you can use it like a mini caliper. I just think the sliding function is nice for fidget factor. You can also use it like this for the 90 degrees, 120 degrees. You've got this longer ruler when you stretch it out like so. Take this out and you've got an eternal pencil that fits into place with a magnet. Also, you can add these bubble levels, and then you have some extra lead for the pencil in here. Pretty neat little tool. I really like it. 90 grams is what they advertise this at. Let's look at the instructions. See what it has. It has the pry bar, the nail puller, bottle opener, sliding caliper, 90-degree angle ruler, measuring roller, keyhole, window breaker. Now the window breaker, oh yes, is here at the end. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of all those, but depth measuring roller, mini everlasting pen, and then the small bubble spirit level. Pretty neat little tool. I like it for $20 some. I think it was well worth it just for even the fidget factor. It's a unique tool, but at $32, it might be a little much for what it offers, but I do think it's a lot more fascinating than just a pry tool, which are very expensive sometimes on their own. Now, this titanium wrench is actually disappearing from the scene, but I did buy this when it was, I think, somewhere around $40 to $50, which seems way too much, but I was curious, how good is it actually? Now, would I ever take this to work and use it? No, I would not. It's more just another one of those tools that you put in your pocket for fun, to have more like a conversation piece. Although it does have more than just a wrench function, it has a sort of nice, satisfying little trap door that you can open where these 4mm bits you can either put right here, use as a screwdriver, or it does have these special jaws in the end of this wrench. When you close them, they do fit exactly right around the 4mm bit. You can use these as a screwdriver, a bit driver right there on your wrench. That's pretty much all you have on here. This titanium wrench. The handles store 2 of these 4mm bits, both the flat and the Phillips. You can close this up. It's got some nice, almost like jimping on the side to get a little bit more grip, I guess. This is a very small wrench. You can see it's only 7 centimeters long. And then when we go to inches, it's only about 2.5 inches long. Very, very small, very light. Yeah, I can't really stress to you how light it is. Let's try out this scale. Comes in at about 1.2 ounces, or put this over to grams, 33 grams. Yeah, a very, very light little wrench. I do think it is way too expensive for what it is, but I wanted to pick one up just because, to see what all the hype was about. Now, unfortunately, this design has pretty much disappeared. I think one of the only places you can buy this now is eBay. Maybe there are a couple places on AliExpress, although I find them very difficult to find. There is a new design with a scalpel blade that's now $106, and there is another version that is very similar to this, but a little different design that is around $50 I saw on AliExpress. So versions have moved on. What do you guys think about this? This is very different, but it's sort of cool. All right, so I really need you guys to help me out. Are these tools right here too elite? Are we coming to a point in the multi-tool world where it's basically a lot of tools just like, sort of like Leatherman we complain about, just for the rich people or the people that love to waste their money? Is that where we're coming to in the multi-tool world? A lot of these tools right here, are they the best for us to carry? Probably not. Essentially, a used Leatherman PST would probably be a much greater tool than all these right here. Or we could buy something like the Salga Power Pint. Sometimes I've seen these go for around $20 at Walmart. Yes, the blades aren't always the best. Now, this one does have the scalpel mod. And then, fascinatingly, Ben from Modrite, which was previously Backcountry CAD, I saw he had a video where he is making a scalpel mod for the Power Pint, and I'll try to get that in the future. But yeah, there are some much better options out there, but these are fascinating. I'm glad to add these to my collection, but let me know what you think about this direction of very upscale tools, I guess you could say. Now at $30, that's not extremely upscale, but for some of these being over $100, and then especially Windeler, if they can ever get their tools out. But you think these pliers are like 60. This right here can be the knife alone, maybe around $60, $120 just here, and then maybe $30 for these tools. So we're talking about what? A very expensive tool, I guess you could say, especially if you add some of their ratchets and scissors. You could come to about a $200 tool right here, like a Leatherman Arc. A little crazy. That's where we're at in the multi-tool world. Extremely cheap tools and extremely expensive ones, and a couple good ones in between, and I'll keep bringing you videos about all of them.